What's going on, everybody? Coming back at you with another review today. Got this off of Amazon. It is the Hobbymate D6 Duo Pro. Okay, so I've got an ISDT charger and the screen went out on it. You can still see it, but it sucks completely, and I needed something for the workbench. So I hopped on Amazon, looked around, and came across one of these, and I figured I'd do a nice little review for you guys. So here we go. We're gonna do not a full-on unboxing. I'm just gonna show you what's in here. I've already had this out, but this is how it comes. You open it up, you're greeted with a pamphlet that is in Chinese. The other side is English, and it gives you the specs and rundown of everything and what everything is. No real instructions or directions or anything like that. It just is more or less just a stat sheet, I guess you could call it. Alright, so you move the little piece of cardboard. The next thing you're going to see is this is how it's packed. You got your AC cord, piece of foam, and then the charger itself comes right out like that, and there's nothing else in the box. It's very straightforward, very minimal, which is what I love about this thing. But let's plug it up and I'll show you some of the little specs and details. I'm not going to use the AC just yet. I've got my power supply up here, so that's what we're going to use for the moment. Well, you know what? We'll just do a little run around. How about that? So on the front, you're greeted with this nice big screen. Channel selector. This is going to be your jog wheel for selecting different things, and then you're going to press to select stuff like that. On the front, you have channel 1, balance port, power out, balance port for channel 2. And this side, you're going to have your USB out, 5 volt at 2.1 amps. There's a USB over on this side. And I believe this one is for updating the charger, is what that is. On the back, you're greeted with a nice big fan, your AC in. This is your DC in, and it is 6.5 volts to 30 volts in. And the other side is 110 to 240, and it's an automatic switcher. The bottom gives you your description of everything, your intake vent for the fan. Alright, so when you plug it up, this is what you're greeted with. Let me zoom in a little bit for you so you can see. Alright, so you're going to power on. Oh, well, guess it would help if I plugged everything into the wall. So when you power on, this is what you're going to see. And now you're into the main screen. I don't usually use the ports on the bottom directly with the batteries, just for the simple fact I don't want to mess these pins up, so I usually use a balance board. And the one thing different with this than what I'm used to pin 1 over here and it going this way, negative, but it actually goes the opposite direction. Negative's over here and it goes up this way for the cell count. I'm used to it being the other way. So it was kind of weird at first when I was messing with this. But you'll plug in your board, plug in your power, and these are very tight connectors, and that's what I love about these. Alright, that's plugged in. I'm going to plug a battery in. You get all your nice little voltage and everything, and battery's plugged in now. Alright, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. So from here, if you try to do anything, you're really not going to get much. That's all you're going to get. And it comes up and it says, use channel key to select channel. You can't do anything from this screen except getting into the main menu, which is pressing and holding the jog wheel. And when you press and hold, you go into the actual charger settings. Task parameters, you can come in here and you can set your safety timer, your max capacity, in current, trickle charge, roll the jog wheel down, roll the jog wheel up, press to select. Now system parameters, you can go in and change the language. This is your options for language. Your max input power is 700 watts, and that's the highest you can go. You can actually scroll all the way down to 50 watts as max input. I leave mine all the way up at 700 just because I can only output 460 on this little power supply that I'm running. So I'm not too terribly upset about that. Now, input voltage. If you're going to power this off of a LiPo, this is where the input voltage comes in. It won't let it drop down below 6.5 volts, and this will shut down so you don't destroy your batteries. LCD backlight actually comes on the high setting, but as you can see, you really can't see much on the screen when it's like that. So, and that's low. I keep it at the middle setting when I'm doing this. Wireless charge. Now this is the coolest feature that I've seen on this. Not any other charger I've ever seen does this. On the top of the charger, you have this nice little symbol. So if your phone supports wireless charging, you can actually put your phone up here and charge while you're at your workbench or doing whatever you're doing. Most people won't use it. I use it just because it's there. And if I feel like it, you know, I'll throw my phone on there while I'm watching everything charge, or if I'm working on stuff and I got my power supply out and I'm running things. The volume. For this, I'm going to actually turn it off right now. Get rid of the beep. But the one thing I found out with the volume is it also runs your completion. Some chargers have it to where you can shut off the system sounds, but still have it to where when your battery's done charging, it'll still go off and alert you. This one does not. If you turn that off, you won't know that your battery's done unless you look over here at it and physically see that it's done. So that's the only reason why I left mine on, because I did test the charging and all that stuff, and it works great. But if you want to hear it beeping, if you're in the next room, not physically watching your stuff or in the same room as it, you set this to beeping so you know that it actually finishes. You're going to want to put that to something other than off. Your completion sound, single, or it repeats forever until you come over here and do something about it. I've got mine set to repeat. Sometimes I walk out of my kitchen, walk back in, whatnot. I don't really have a workspace yet, so I might be walking around the house and it goes off. The device name. Didn't really figure out what the heck this was for until I started messing with it. Doesn't really do anything. You don't really ever see it unless you're in a single charge window for each port. But I thought it was cool. I put my call sign in there. That's what I always go by because my last name is so long. So we'll go back out of this. The next one are your calibrations for the channels. I've got no clue how to do any of that. That's all set from the factory. I don't mess with it, so that's as far as I go. The system self-check, it does this every time you boot up, but you can go into this and check it at any time. The next one down will be factory settings. So you can actually go into here and it'll factory reset everything. System info, it gives you your serial number and everything going down the HobbymateHobby.com website. So if you ever need anything, you can go to their website. Press again, it takes you back out. Last one is back. You'll click it, and then you're back at the main screen. Now, when I was referring to the whole name, you don't see it anywhere on here until you hit a channel select. And then you'll see it at the very top of the screen. I thought it was kind of cool. No real use for it. So I really couldn't tell you much about it. So from here, if you press the jog wheel again, it'll take you into the actual settings for the charge port on this side. We're in charge port 1 or channel 1. Alright, so from here, when you're done and you charge or whatever, it'll remember the last thing that you've done, or it'll just go back to charge. I think that's what it does, because I actually did a storage on this battery yesterday, and now when I turn it back on, it's on charge again. So, but you can go into this and you can charge, discharge, and this one here is pretty cool. I don't have a battery big enough to do this, but if you field charge with this, with a big LiPo, like one of the 16,000 milliamp hours or up, or anything that you would use for this, this one here, when you discharge, it just goes off into heat. And it just, the fan runs, and it goes and goes and goes. The discharge, external, if you have a battery hooked up to this, it will actually discharge from your pack back into the battery, which is pretty cool. That's one of the features that this charger has that most other chargers don't. It's got little bitty things hidden in here that you wouldn't expect, and that's one of them. Alright, this is storage voltage and then balance charge. I'm actually going to go into storage because that's about the fastest way I could do this. And I'm going to go ahead and start a task while I'm talking about all this stuff. And I'll go into the second thing. So you can see my storage voltage is going to go to 3.8. And I found out this will actually stop out at 3.79 and change is what it usually goes to. And it's discharging at 0.8 amps. I haven't figured out really how to get it any higher. Usually it discharges at 3. I don't know why. I'm not that savvy with these chargers yet. But it's supposed to output, let me see if I can find it real quick. I had it just a minute ago. The discharge current for a battery on their website, it says anywhere from 0.1 to 3 amps by 2. So it'll divide it if you're using 2 batteries. And I don't know if it's just because I'm that close to storage voltage or not, but that's probably what it could be. But we'll go into the second channel and I'll show you the rest of the little features in here. And this is the other cool thing. It's got 2 channels, so I can go into it and show you this. Alright, so the battery type, these are the battery types you can run. Smart battery, which when you connect something, it automatically detects and runs whatever. Haven't really figured it out yet because it doesn't really work for anything that I use. So I don't usually run that one. You have LiHV, which is a LiPo high voltage, regular LiPo, lithium ion, LiFe, LiXX. This is, I don't know what that is, NIZN. I thought it was a NiCad, but that one I'm not familiar with. But it says that it will also charge the NiCad and nickel metal hydride. And I'm guessing that's nickel zinc is what that is for that setting. Oh, maybe not. They're down here. Sorry, that's my fault. So you have nickel metal hydride, NiCad. PB is like the lead acid, like a car battery. No clue what the end loop is, and that's where that stops. Now, this little feature right here, the LiXX, you can go into this and you can do anything you want, all the way up to 4 volts, all the way down to 3.3. I have been told if you do this, you run the risk of, because it does not automatically detect anything, you set all the parameters for this one. And when you connect to it, I've heard of people like destroying batteries, catching fire, because they have it set for one, and when they plug up something different, they fry something completely. But I don't ever run that. I always just put it on LiPo, It auto detects my battery when I plug in, so I don't ever have to worry about any of that. But even in here, you can go to the cell voltage, and this is for storage. We'll go to, say we're going to charge 4.2 is where it's going to stop. That's your where it's telling you the best ideal spot to put the battery at without destroying anything. You can go from 1 to 6S. All I've got is 3 and 4S batteries, so it doesn't really matter to me. And this, you can run your charge current all the way up to 15 amps. Now, I believe it is 15 amps per channel. It's 30 amps total. Now, if you are connected in AC, I believe, see if I can find it real quick. I'm looking online right now. And I could be wrong. It is 325 watts per channel, 650 watts total for DC, and then it's 200 watts per channel. It's 100 watts per channel, or 200 watts. It divides it, is what it does. It's really weird how they figure this stuff up. So if you're running one channel like this, and you run all your stuff in parallel, you can essentially get 650 watts running out to that one channel. But if you connect two batteries up, it'll only do the 325 watts per channel. So it's weird how they figure it up. It took me a while to understand it. I'll never run anything that high. Most people won't, but some people do. So, but I leave my stuff at 1C charge rate because I run 2200 packs, 2.2 amps. That's all I do. So then you start your task and then you go back. And if you leave it at this screen, it'll actually jump back to the dual screen on its own if you let it sit long enough. But if not, you can just hit the channel button. Now, if you hit the channel button and you're on here, if you look at the bottom, you can actually see the individual cell voltages. If you scroll over, you will see voltage in, and this is 36 degrees Celsius. This is actually what's inside the charger right now, what it's running. You can see the watt hour that you put in, and I believe this is how many cycles you've charged the batteries. And I charged one up yesterday and then discharged it, and it actually is pretty much spot on for this battery. It shows me everything. Alright, so this is what it looks like when you're in this state. Now, to get out of it, you one press, well, you have to select your channel first. One press and it gives you current adjustment, stop, or back. Now, you can stop it this way. I also found out that you can press and hold the jog wheel and it'll automatically stop and go into standby. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go into a charge because it actually shows something different. Oh, see, it went back into charge instead of storage. Alright, 2.2 amps. I'm going to start this task. Alright, color changes. It's now yellow. And from here, this is what's changed. You can see your voltage is going up. 15.8 volts is total voltage. You got your time, milliamp hours put in. If you roll the jog wheel over, you go to the next screen, and this is actually your resistance in the pack for each cell. And it takes it a couple minutes before you'll actually see it pop up because it calculates it and does all that. If we roll over again, you have the same stuff, your input voltage, your temperature, and all that stuff of the charger and the watt hours you've put in. So if we go back now it shows me the internal resistance of my pack. It just takes it a minute because it calculates. It's got to get to a certain milliamp hour as it runs. It'll show you all that. So that's what this looks like. Now I'll go to the discharge, and show you what that screen looks like. And you see it's got a different color for each thing. And then down here, it still shows you the same thing. When you scroll over, it gives you all the same stuff again. But this one is taking out everything. And see, it's at 3.3 amps when I discharge. I can't ever get it over that. And I don't know what it is. It could be something that I'm doing. So I'm never really too worried about it. But this will actually, it shows that it's going to discharge all the way down to 3.3 volts. And that's what I set it at, because I was trying to simulate how it looked when I was flying, and I wanted to make sure that I thought I had a bad pack. So that's what I did with it. Awesome little charger. I was trying to get stuff so you could hear it when it goes off, but it's taking a little bit longer than what I thought, and I don't want you guys to have to sit there and stare at this thing forever. So I'll go back to this, and I'll let it go back to storage voltage. Oh, storage done. That fast, that easy. So with it doing that, I will actually go into the main settings, and I'll turn the volume back on to high, so you can hear what it actually sounds like when it goes off. But yes, that beeping is extremely annoying to me. Alright, so you'll see it here in a minute. Hopefully it'll do it again and be at storage voltage. Well, maybe not. Thought it was going to do it. But you can see it brings them all down. And that's the weirdest thing to me, is that it's set at 3.8, and these go down to 3.79. I haven't figured that out yet. I do know that in the settings it's 10%, so it's not going to sit here forever and try to get them exactly. It gets them within 10% of what you want it to be, and then it does it. So, not a big deal for me. I still fly it. I've never had any issues with it. So, if you want to find this, I'll go over here. There you go. That's what it does. That's what it sounds like when it goes off. And it'll continuously repeat that until I come over here and do something with it. And it is kind of neat, because it does trickle charge as it does it. Oh, and look, everything's at 3.8. Imagine that. But then I'll get out of all this. I'll unplug my battery real quick and go through some of the other stuff. That was my fault. I unplugged the battery before exiting everything. But over here, I will see if I can get it on the screen for you. This is Hobbymate's website. Alright, so on their website, I found out that it's actually on sale right now, is what it says. Right there in the little corner. And it's dropped $10. So, I mean, it's a really great charger for the price. I know it's a more high-end charger than what most people like or run. But if you're really big into the RC hobby, this is a very good investment. And on here, it gives you all the specs and stats and all the good stuff. And I believe you can actually go through their website to purchase. Or you go through here, you know, it tells you the description. And you scroll through enough of it, and you'll actually find you can buy this on Amazon, is where I bought it from. So, maybe it's not on here no more. It was on here a minute ago. But these are all related products. Their website is laid out really good. So I highly recommend one of these batteries. And if you just go click Amazon, pull it up, just type in Hobbymate D6, hit enter. It'll pull it up right there. Bang. If you got Prime, look at that. If I ordered it now, it'd be here tomorrow. So, these chargers are great. I love them. If you get it, I guarantee you will love it too. See, even on here, it shows it's still at the sell price. You can add a warranty, all that good stuff. So, yeah. Get a chance, check it out. They're awesome chargers. I love mine. Wouldn't go back to my ISDT at all. I love this thing so much it's going to go everywhere with me. So, till next time, guys, keep them in the air.